Are you heading out to America and considering flying with Virgin Atlantic? Well, you might well be considering the upgrade to Premium to help the trip go that little bit smoother. If so, well then we took a flight on Virgin's 787 Dreamliner in Premium to show you exactly what to expect and to see if the Premium product is worth the upgrade. Virgin Atlantic's premium cabin is best thought of as a cut-down business or upper-class service. You get a heap of extras for a much lower price than upper class. It's not as fancy, and you don't get a lie-flat bed or lounge access, but it's a fraction of the cost. The upgrade comes with priority check-in and boarding, 2 checked bags per person, a large comfy leather seat with heaps of legroom and upgraded screen, a private cabin, dedicated service, welcome aboard drink, 4-course meal on real crockery, upgraded afternoon tea service and unlimited drinks and snacks throughout the flight. You get plenty of alcoholic drinks included as well, but this is pretty much the same as economy. Overall, it's a really nice package of perks and we will detail these during our full flight review, but overall it makes it a much more comfortable and enjoyable flight experience. The first thing we need to address is it. We can only know if premium is worth it if we know what it actually is, and by it, we mean cost. This is not a simple calculation as prices fluctuate wildly based on route, availability and demand. It's a complex algorithm that comes up with a price and you can only really know the true cost by doing some test bookings. And even then the prices can change rapidly. You might also get stung by some pretty large taxes and fees, but unless you were booking using points you probably won't notice this as Virgin displays the overall price while booking. For our flight we paid £865 for a return flight to San Francisco. Economy Classic was priced at around £335, meaning we paid £330 for the upgrade, or £165 per leg. You might see a huge range of different prices, some worth it, some not. We say anything under £100 per flight is a no-brainer. 1 to 200 is good value, 2 to 300 is probably only worth it for a very special occasion or if you really want that extra comfort. And anything above £300 is a waste of money, remember that price being per leg. Also you can consider booking just one leg of the trip as a treat. Sometimes only the inbound or the outbound leg is found at a reasonable price, but you can easily just book one leg and fly the other leg in coach. And you can always upgrade later if the price for the upgrade drops after booking. One huge issue for us is seat selection. Virgin have gone really sneaky with this one. They offer free seat selection with Premium, but only for a limited amount of the cabin seats. If the free seats have sold out, you will have to pay extra for preferred seats, or risk not sitting together altogether. It's a bit of a cheap trick really, shame on Virgin. Premium does take some of the hassle out of the airport experience. There is a dedicated check-in lane which rarely has any queue, however Virgin have introduced these self-serve kiosks at Heathrow and other airports which are really clunky and flying Premium does not avoid these, so we recommend checking in online beforehand and then heading straight to the priority bag drop queue. Unfortunately you get no lounge access for Premium, so you will need to fend for yourself in the airport, but you do get Premium boarding, meaning you can basically walk straight onto the plane. Taking a right turn as you enter the aircraft, you are straight into the small and self-contained premium cabin. On the 787 Dreamliner, there are just 35 seats, arranged in a 2-3-2 layout. Each seat is nice and large, 21 inches wide, with a 38-inch seat pitch, so lots of legroom. It's a leather seat, and while they are getting on a little bit, they are still nice and comfy, with no hint of achy joints or sore bums after our 11-hour flight. In fact, we found ourselves more comfortable than we did after only 7 hours in their newer A380neo's upper class seat. One thing to note is the armrest is fixed. This can be a problem for people who like to lift the armrest up and turn the whole seat area into a kind of couch. That's not possible with this seat or any of the premium seats, so it's something to consider. There is a large high-res screen and a USB power socket, and even some multi-use power plugs under the seat, so lots of connectivity. The tray table folds up into the armrest and is nice and sturdy, and has plenty of room between the table and the passenger. You get this nice little footrest, and the seat allows plenty of recline, but remember to use this sparingly to save the person behind you. Upon boarding, you are offered a welcome drink of Prosecco or orange juice while you wait for your boarding to commence, something not offered to anyone in the economy classes. Then after settling into our seat, it was off and up into the sky on the way to San Francisco. One thing we love about the 787 Dreamliner is the extra large windows, so you get a great view throughout the flight. However, one thing we dislike about the premium cabin is all of these views are out over the wing, so they're highly restricted. We were flying on Maid Marian, and as you can see, she really needs a bit of a paint job. In no time at all, we were up into the cruise and the cabin crew came round with their first drink service. Well, when we say first drink service, this was actually the only drink service, which is pretty disappointing. We got an alcoholic drink to accompany our meal, and we also got one with afternoon tea. However, any other drinks needed to be requested, which didn't seem to be a problem, but for an 11-hour flight, one proper drink service seems a bit mean, and is certainly a reduction on the amount of drink services we used to receive. The main meal was served only an hour or so into the flight. This was around 1 PM, so a perfect time for a spot of lunch. But this is usually the same regardless of the flight time. They just like to get the main meal out straight away so you can settle into the flight. We had pre-ordered our meal, but this didn't really seem to matter, and the crew didn't really know who had or hadn't pre-ordered, but everyone seemed to get what they wanted regardless. The 4-course meal is served on real plates and with real cutlery, but it is still all served on a single tray, unlike the proper staged meal service you get up front. The starter was Moroccan hummus, which was nice and light and really refreshing. For the main course I had the pork chili, which was a bit tame for me, but overall quite tasty for an aircraft meal, and still retained some good texture. Aircraft food can get a bit gloopy. Kate went for the veggie option, not because she is vegetarian, she just loves mac and cheese and truffles, so the truffle mac and cheese was an obvious choice. Again, it still retained its texture and was not a homogeneous mass, and had some really nice flavour and some nice earthy notes coming through from the truffle and mushrooms. Dessert was a lemon posset, and it had a real nice zing to it, and the 4th course was a little helping of cheese that was decent enough. Although I ended up with some mouldy grapes, the cabin crew whisked them away and replaced the dish, apologetically assuring me they would be fed back to their suppliers. Mistakes happen. Overall, it was a nice meal. Airline food is rarely sensational, but this was a good balance of interesting and familiar, catering to most kinds of tastes. The only real negative was their insistence on sticking with canned wine. We hate to be snobby, but wine comes in a bottle, not a can, and we are yet to taste good wine out of a can. With the main meal done, a quick tea and coffee service followed, and then we settled back into the flight. This is a good time to talk about the Inflight Entertainment system, which is a double-edged sword with Virgin. The technical side is very good. The touchscreen is large and really quite responsive. These screens are a good 10 years old, and tech that old can feel pretty archaic quickly, but they still stand up to modern expectations with no noticeable lag and very accurate with your touches. They are a bit reflective and can suffer a little when the blinds are up, but overall they are up to the job. We also like the layout of Vera and find the World Explorer fun to follow as the flight goes along, and love the fact you can load the Explorer onto your little handset, which is otherwise pretty useless, and track the flight while staying in your movie. Overall, it's a really good system and used to be our top pick, however something has changed post-COVID, and that's the content. It's not only gone downhill, it's plunged into a ravine. We really struggled to find enough to watch at all, mainly plumping for re-watching the odd old classic and utilising the TV for reruns and music channels. It was really hard to fill the time, whereas pre-COVID, we would never have enough time to watch everything we wanted. It's worth saying this applies to the whole airline, not just premium. You get the same lineup regardless of class, but it's something we should mention and something Virgin have to work on. We have flown Delta and American recently, and their IFE blows this out of the water, as does British Airways and others. It's a really poor show from Virgin. We are pretty harsh about Virgin's lose in our upper class reviews, as really we think they could do better, but in premium you basically get the same facilities as upper, and for this level of cabin we think they are fine. They are modern and remain clean throughout. This video was taken well into the flight and they are still clean enough. Overall definitely adequate for premium. There was also very rarely anything even remotely resembling a queue. As the flight drew on, something a bit weird happened. The crew turned off all the lights and automatically shut the blinds, turning the flight into a night flight. But it was still the middle of the afternoon, and we would be landing around 3 PM in San Francisco, so it felt pretty weird to be going into night mode. Still, we ploughed on through the sky, with the crew passing through at various points offering juice, water, an ice lolly, and at one point a tasty toasted cheese and tomato sandwich. So we were well catered to throughout the flight. There is even the Wonder Wall, which had a host of snacks and drinks permanently available, but any more alcohol was by request. We love the windows on the 787, they are larger than any other aircraft, and the cool electrostatic controls are just so much fun. After the long, dark, quiet flight, the crew finally threw the switch and started lighting up the cabin. This preceded the service of afternoon tea. This is always one of our favourite meals on board, and we were in for a real treat today as Virgin is serving its 40th birthday afternoon tea. This consisted of tasty sandwiches, small cute little cakes with 40th birthday motifs, and of course a great scone served with lashings of jam and cream. We also got another drink service on top of the tea or coffee served with the Mile High tea. After our tea, we were closing in on San Francisco, and we started our descent with great views of the city. Overall, we really rate the premium product. We are quite used to flying upper and business class now, and the thought of economy for 11 hours is pretty dire, but premium still gives you most of the benefits of upper class without the super high cost. If you can find a premium flight for £100 to £200 per leg, we highly suggest you take it. It really is a tiny cost for the huge amount of added comfort and benefits you will receive. As a final close to this video, we just wanted to highlight the difference we got on our return leg. This was out of LA, but was an overnight flight. This meant we were served dinner, then largely left alone to sleep before being woken up just before landing for breakfast. The seat really helped with comfort, and we both got some quite good rest, at least comparable to upper class. The dinner was not the best. We both had salmon, and while it was a good size, the mash was packet mash, and all over it was pretty bland. The dessert too felt very store-bought, and overall it was not as good as on the way out. We often find the US caterers Virgin uses are not as good as the UK versions. The breakfast was really bad. No matter what, you are feeling really groggy and pretty sick after only a few hours of restless sleep, and food is not really your first thought. But this one was pretty awful. The sausage, while probably technically cooked, just looked raw, and the eggs and mushrooms had congealed into a lump. It was pretty gross. There were other choices, an omelette and French toast, but neither were much more appealing. Honestly, we would prefer that they just served bacon baps or something like that. The side yogurt was really nice and really helped settle the stomach, as did the fruit, but the pastry would have done someone an injury if you threw it, so we didn't even try that. Overall, we never really want breakfast anyway, but they could have done better than this. Still, God knows what the economy diners were served if this was a premium meal. But the food aside, it was a pretty decent flight, and we did find there were a few more films and TV options added from the outward leg. Night flights are never fun, especially going home, so we really think the premium upgrade helped massively in making this leg just a little bit more bearable. We hope this video helps you understand the benefits of premium, what you get and what you don't get, and helps you decide if this is an upgrade you would value, or even if Virgin is the airline for you or not. We have tried to give an honest and thorough review of what we found on our flight to help you make an informed decision. There are some clear issues with the product, but overall it is still a really good value product that will elevate your flight experience way above flying in economy. We found the seats on the 787 Dreamliner really comfy on both legs, and there is a huge amount of legroom. The priority queues at the airport really help de-stress that part of the flight and help you get that VIP feeling. We dislike the limited amount of drink services, but there was never an issue requesting more either from the call button or at the galley. The one real big letdown for us is the Inflight Entertainment system. The advent of streaming has conditioned us to expect a lot more from content sources, and there really is not enough content on Virgin's system at all. But again, this is an overall Virgin problem and not down to the premium class. We still prefer Virgin to most other transatlantic carriers, as every airline has its own negatives, and overall we rate Virgin's product as one of the best value products out there, especially if you can get it for that £100 to £200 per leg price point. Thanks for watching, make sure you like and subscribe to the channel for loads more airline reviews and exciting travel content.